Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luis Gomez. I'm here as a Spanish interpreter with the Community Language Cooperative. And today we're going to establish language justice in this space by using a simultaneous interpretation feature through Zoom. Once we turn it on, you'll see a small globe appear on the bottom right hand of your screen if you're joining us through a computer. If this afternoon you're joining with a cell phone or a tablet, you can select the three dots options where it says more, and the interpretation feature can be found there. There you can select if you wish to participate in English or in Spanish so that we're all able to communicate, ask questions, participate all in the same way, and to be able to do so in the language of our heart, the language that we speak with our families. Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Luis Gómez, estoy aquí con la Cooperativa Comunitaria de Lenguaje como intérprete de español. Esta tarde vamos a establecer justicia lingüística en este espacio utilizando una función de interpretación simultánea por Zoom. Ya que la activemos, verán un pequeño globo terráqueo aparecer en la parte de la derecha de abajo de su pantalla si se une por una computadora. Si esta tarde se une con un teléfono celular o una tableta, podrá seleccionar los tres puntos donde dice más y Stephanie. Y ahí podrán seleccionar si desea participar en inglés o en español para todos poder comunicarnos, hacer preguntas, todo de la misma manera en el idioma de nuestro corazón, el que hablamos con nuestras familias. Si en cualquier momento tiene alguna pregunta o algún problema con la función de interpretación, nos podemos comunicar a través del chat. Ahorita lo vamos a activar, verificaré que ambos canales funcionen y estaremos listos. If at any point throughout the meeting you have any issues or any questions with the interpretation feature, we can communicate via the chat. We can now turn on the interpretation feature. I'll test that both channels are working and we'll be all set. Again, please remember to make a language selection unless you are fully bilingual in both English and Spanish. Any questions before we turn it on? Preguntas antes de activar la función? Okay, Chris, we can go ahead and turn it on. I'll start testing the English channel. Here we go. Selection. And testing the English channel. Can I get some thumbs up if you're able to hear me? Testing the English channel. If you can hear my voice, let me get some thumbs up. Perfect. I'll do the same. Testing the Spanish channel. Creo que estamos listos en español también. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Luis. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you join us today for our Future Ancestors Healing Our Past to Liberate Our Future event. So we wanted to extend a huge thank you to Chris at Rocky Mountain Public Health Training Center, to Melissa Ivy and Luis Gomez from the Community Language Cooperative for helping us make this happen. We want to honor everyone's time, and so this will end promptly at 1. And so if we can't get to all of your questions today or really dive deeper into any of the conversations that we may have today, we will have a short survey that we'll send in the chat at the end of the event for you all to fill out, to give us some feedback. And then there's also a space in there for you to include any questions or other thoughts that you may have. And we are recording this session, so please choose to engage in which you are most comfortable in, whether that is your cameras on or off. And yeah, so we'll start with that. I will begin introducing myself. So my name is Tweevy. I am the administrative coordinator for the Colorado Public Health Association Health Equity Coalition. And I am so honored to be here with you all, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I will pass this to our amazing lead for the professional development work group here at CPHA Health Equity Coalition, Sedona.
Thank you so much, Tweevy. Happy Earth Day, everyone. It is such an honor to be in this space together. My name is Sedona Allen Moreno. I am a youth advisor at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. I am also the co-lead for the Professional Development Work Group for the Health Equity Coalition. And I'm very excited to be graduating in just a couple of weeks from Naropa University. So it's truly an honor to be here with all of you. We have a very special agenda planned for this webinar today. But before we get started, I would like to pass it to my hermana, my inspiration, someone who has truly, been a spark and support in my life, Melissa Ivy. She actually is who first started Future Ancestors and really inspired this whole movement. So it is an honor to introduce Melissa Ivy.
Good morning. Gracias, everybody, on this beautiful, beautiful Earth Day that we have. I want to take a moment to just properly introduce myself as the daughter of Alicia Fall, daughter of Richard Schneider, granddaughter of Teresila Ayala, Zachariah Ayala, Rogelia Ayala, and Lucy Puente, Bruno Ramos, and Mario Sanchez. So I bring all these people up because I bring all these people into the room with me right now. And I just want to acknowledge all the people that you're bringing in to the Future Ancestor Vision and Collective with us. My family has a little bit of a different way of praying. And so before we do this beautiful work together today, I just want to go ahead and face east. And I want to take you on a short journey through the medicine wheel in about the next 3 minutes. So I do have a little bit of tobacco in which I do smoke medicine. And so for each direction that we face, we're going to offer something to the fire. So as I face east, I acknowledge the stolen land in which my indigenous ancestors hiked miles over rivers, valleys, our own bones, in search of better days. I want to acknowledge that we are their greatest dreams and we are their prayers. So I burn a little bit of tobacco and I think about the spring right now and the new birth that is happening within us all in this very moment. And I bring in the element of fire. That's really what the east brings us, that heat, that fire. And as I faced south, and I'm not going to turn my back to you, but I'm going to be facing south. I have a little bit of sweetgrass, and I want to call in on this day of La Madre de Tierra, the Mother Earth. And I call in all of her blessings and internal knowledge. We celebrate her in the summer. We feel her most in our youth that is vibrant. And I wish y'all could smell the sweetgrass here. I'm blessing you all. And I do have a little bit of holy water. As we face the west, we call in the element of water. We have sage that I burned a little bit earlier. And this is the time of autumn and our adulthood, which some of us may be just entering into, some of us may be well into, some of us may be reluctantly into. As we face the west, we call in the water, the sage, the autumn, and all those other adults around us, helping us find our way. And lastly, I like to, I'll just kind of face north this way a little bit, but I'd like to light some cedar for you. And it's really beautiful in Colorado. The cedar, you can just find it anywhere. And if you are native and this is a part of your prayer, it's just a really beautiful element to bring in. So we call the air, we call the cedar. We're all coming off of this winter time. And we call in our elders, those future ancestors. So as we complete the medicine wheel, I want to acknowledge the stolen land in which we are all on Turtle Island, and the ways that we can bridge the gap together through Mother Earth, through our dreams, through our friendships, through tending to the own seed within. Just for a short moment, offer yourself a breath of peace. Just as I called my ancestors in, if you would like to Mentally send an invitation to your grandfather, your grandmother, auntie, uncles, future ancestors on their way. I leave you with this, my friends. See, as a birth doula, they told me that I was born here on Mother Earth. And if you could take yourself off your camera for just a split second, because maybe they told this to you as well. And so if they told you that you were born on Mother Earth, just kind of raise your hand or give me a thumbs up or something like that. So I know you're here and you're with me. All right. Andrea, Chris, other Chris, Carolyn, are you with me? There you are. All right. And everybody who doesn't want to come off their camera, I am waving to you because your mother is my mother. So the way I see that, we're siblings. Okay. So I just want to leave you with that peace in your heart. From my ancestors, your ancestors are ancestors. Have a beautiful webinar, everybody, and thank you so much for this moment of prayer.
Mateo, thank you so much, Melissa.
Mateo.
It is truly an honor to have you open up and give those beautiful land acknowledgements to honor the medicine wheel and to just bring your beautiful and healing presence into this space. So thank you so much. That was a really great way to kind of get us into this sacred space together. Before we dive into some really valuable tools and cycles of socialization and liberation, I wanted to start with a grounding meditation that really takes us through, what it means to be a future ancestor. I'm gonna share my screen. So if everyone could just take some really deep breaths and come into a comfortable meditation seat, whether your feet are on the floor or your sits bones, just feel some connection to Mother Earth. And if you're comfortable, you can go ahead and close your eyes and just begin to breathe really deep. As future ancestors, not only are we thinking of how we can transform our current reality to impact future generations, but we also must go back through our own lives and remember each part of our identity and experience and how this impacts who we are today. Using and growing our moral imagination, this process focuses on our own lives and helps us see how their basic features and conditions prepare us to take part in the healing of our world. Like climbing a mountain and looking back on the landscape below, this practice provides a vantage point that lets us see new things. From that overarching perspective, we can see unsuspected connections and goodness. We can see how our responses to suffering and limitations have strengthened us for the work we have come to do. We call this practice the Bodhisattva check-in, inspired by Joanna Macy. Take some deep breaths as we go through this journey together. I invite you all to step into the year of your birth. Your life has a particular historical context. Now step into the place of your birth. In what country were you born? Were you born in a town or city or in a rural area? Which parts of the earth's body first greeted your eyes? And what socioeconomic conditions were you born and raised in? How did scarcity or affluence or periods of both affect you and the people around you? Which gender is yours for this lifetime, and what sexual orientation? How have these identities and society's response to them contributed to who you are today? Now I invite you to step into your family. Who are your parents? For some of you, this means your adopted parents or foster parents or other caregivers, as well as birth parents. If you received mostly loving care from them, how did that shape you? If you received mostly abuse or neglect, what strengths did you develop in order to survive? Are you an only child? Or do you have siblings in this life? The companionship, competition, loneliness, or autonomy that you knew in your family fostered the unique blend of strengths you bring to your world. What disabilities came with this life of yours? Challenges of body or mind bring their own strengths and resilience. What personal gifts and talents came with this life? How have they supported your work in life? And lastly, imagining that you can for a moment see it clearly. What particular mission did you come to perform and achieve in this lifetime? Take a few more cleansing deep breaths as you reflect on all of these experiences and identity that make you who you are. As you continue breathing, start to wiggle your wrists and ankles, fingers and toes. Feel free to stretch, do whatever makes you feel comfortable and welcome in this sacred space we are creating together. And as I stop the share, if you'd all like to just turn on your cameras really quick and just look at one another, and maybe you'll see each other in a different light after understanding where we're all coming from, and we all have diverse backgrounds and histories and identities, but we are all here together, honoring Mother Earth, Madre Tierra, and seeing how we can transform the world we live in. Take one more cleansing deep breath, and I will pass it back to Tweeby to bring us into the cycle of socialization. And as we go through that, you can think about this meditation and how it relates to these powerful tools we can use for social change.
Thank you so much, Sedona. Wow, that was beautiful. And so now I will transition us into introducing the psychosocialization, and this framework may be familiar or it may be new to you. And so, just come from where you are showing up today. I will also pop in the links to the readings for these cycles into the chat here. And so bear with me. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So the cycle of socialization is a framework that helps us understand the way in which we are socialized to play certain roles in society, how we are affected by issues of oppression, and how we can help or potentially maintain this oppressive system based upon power and privilege. And so this cycle is comprised of 3 arrows and 3 circles and a core at its center. Each of these components represent the following. And so I'm going to zoom in and navigate this document, but in the chat, you can follow along with any of the links. There's the cycle within the reading articles. And so hopefully for any of you motion sensitive folks, this will be okay. And so to start, the beginning of the cycle is shown by this first circle. This is the lens of identity. So this represents the situation into which we were born in, and we have no control over this. Then following that is a first arrow that follows, which represents the fact that in our socialization process, it begins immediately after we're born. So the rules and the norms that are already in place, from history to tradition and more, we are subtly, and in many cases, maybe not so subtly, are made aware of the rewards of conforming and the consequences of rebelling against what we've been taught to behave and to live. And so, for example, some babies are given a pink blanket if they are assumed to identify as a girl, or a blue one if they are a boy. The second circle in this cycle represents the institutions that help shape our views and our beliefs, and they also help instill within us prejudice or acceptance of such. The second arrow that comes out of the circle represents the way in which the instilling of ideas, beliefs, and behaviors are reinforced, and they reinforce the cycle of oppression that exists in our society, where folks are rewarded for good behavior, for conforming to the norms and the standards that are set. But by the same token, we are also punished for bad behavior, questioning or rebelling against oppressive societal norms. This third circle represents the devastating result upon all of us that this self-perpetuated cycle of oppression produces, such as silence, anger, dehumanization, to violence, and other negative feelings. And so really, from here, where do we go? This final arrow that breaks out into two different directions is a point which we all arrive at different points in our life. So where this forces us to make a decision here, whether we can do nothing, don't make any waves, and promote the status quo because it may be the easier choice, especially for those who benefit from the perpetuation of the cycle. We're all victims of the cycle, and we're all hurt by it. The oppression hurts the oppressed and the oppressor. And finally, it is also the wheel that turns or enables this cycle of oppression, any cycle really. And at the center of this cycle is the socialization of fear, this ignorance, confusion, and insecurity that arises within folks that, are following this cycle. Or we can choose the path of change, choose the path to raise consciousness, to interrupt the system, to advocate for liberation. So with that, I will invite Sedona here to share the cycle of liberation.
Thank you, Tweeby. That was so powerful. Let me get my screen up here. So as you saw with that cycle of socialization, there is another way that we can go. Is everyone able to see this? Awesome. So I just want to start with this core, contrast to the cycle of socialization, we see here self-love, self-esteem, balance, joy, support, security, and a spiritual base, whatever that means for you. So now that we have this kind of differentiation between the core of these cycles, how does this start? It usually starts with a critical incident that creates cognitive dissonance. So that moment of awakening. For some, we have experienced, different things from an early age, and some people, we're all coming from different places in our lives. So once we can recognize that point of waking up, we can start to then move to this first circle of getting ready, which is the empowerment of self. It's gaining inspiration and authenticity. It's developing analysis and tools to be able to recognize the ways in which we are socialized and how that contributes to oppression. And once we do this on this intrapersonal level, which is change within the core of people and what they believe about themselves, we can then go to this first arrow of reaching out. And this is movement of self towards others. It's seeking experience and exposure. It's speaking out and naming injustices, taking a stand, using tools such as these cycles or other tools that you may like or be familiar with in your own work. It's exploring and experimenting experimenting how we can start to challenge the status quo and embody our true authentic selves. And now we start to move to the interpersonal. This is change in how we value others and see the world. This it means also building community, working with people who are like us as well as who are different than us. It's building coalitions, questioning assumptions, rules, roles, and structures to eventually be able to impact and transform our systems that uphold oppression and really work towards justice, healing, and liberation. Now that we're at this point, we can move into coalescing, which is organizing, action planning, refusing to collude with the status quo or take privilege. It's being a role model or an ally and accomplice. It's transforming our anger and moving into action. And once we gain these tools, we can then be able to create change and critically transform institutions and create new culture, which is really the goal of so much of the work that we're doing. And in this, once we do get to this phase of creating change, we have to maintain it. We have to continue to integrate, to spread hope and inspiration, to live our dreams, to inspire others to live their dreams. It's modeling authenticity, because the more we can be our authentic selves, the more we give permission to others to be their true selves. It's taking care of ourselves and others. And then the cycle continues. So this was a very brief overview, but we are sharing all of these tools. And I would like to just give a quick quote by Robin Wall Kimmerer before I take us into my capstone film, which is really, I think, a way to model how the cycle of liberation can be put into practice in various ways. So just a little intro to the video. It is a creative synthesis of an 80-page research paper I did for my capstone project at Naropa University. And the film includes interviews by people who truly inspire me and who are living and doing the work of environmental justice. So before I share the video, I would like to introduce it by a quote by Robin Wall Kimmerer. "Knowing that you love the earth changes you, activates you to defend and protect and celebrate. But when you feel that the earth loves you in return, that feeling transforms the relationship from a one-way street into a sacred bond." So just take these words as we move into this capstone film. We will be sharing the links to all of the videos and resources we shared with you today. So just give me a moment to share screen. And hopefully everyone, the video and audio comes up okay. All right, okay? I'm gonna get ready to start this. And again, thank you all for being here and honoring our Mother Earth today, and just being here with each other to create change together.
Authentic connection to the earth is a powerful protective factor for violence prevention. "2020 has hit us like a tsunami and is bringing forth a new wave of change. With the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the worsening climate crisis, ongoing systemic racism and police killings, the war waged on women, expanding capitalist greed and destruction, and the violence we are experiencing is at an all-time high. Our society as we know it is a volcano on the verge of eruption. However, this destruction of old ways is not a bad thing. Rather, it is the buildup of revolutionary fires kept strong over generations. Ancestral wisdom and resiliency has prepared us for this time in history right now to radically transform our future. An intersectional approach and new way of understanding is necessary for this paradigm shift."
Authentic connection to the earth is humility. Having the ability to understand your awareness and your time and space and the balance of it. Whether it's literally you using resources or sources of life around you, but understanding their seasonal balance, understanding their local balance, understanding their physical imbalances and boundaries too, is what helps you personally to learn that physical stewardship, like the actual physical nature of it. The internal nature, I always tell people to try to connect to your indigenous. Learn who your ancestors were, even if it was the colonized and the colonizer. Because a lot of our cultures relate back to stewardship of the earth and balance of the earth, because we've had no choice to live humbly on her. She's so powerful, ultimately. So humility is key. And a lot of indigenous communities have always used that. That's why there's certain ceremonies that push you to your humility. To really understand your humanity, so that you can understand your connection to the earth and that.
Oh, my sisters, oh, my brothers, come together, build the future. Oh, my sisters, oh, my brothers, join the elders by the fire.
I think when you start to see the earth as something other than yourself, is where the true disconnection becomes truth. So, like for my mother, she really like waters her plants as if she's watering herself. So having that maintained connection, not seeing, oh, that's a rock over there. Well, that rock is you. Oh, that's an oak tree over there. We can just cut it down. Well, we're cutting a part of ourselves down, a part of the knowledge. And so when we choose profits and capitalism over protecting Mother Earth, we're doing that to ourselves, to our own minds. And at the end of the day, you know, I've been a death doula as well. And life and birth and death, it is like so beautiful, and it's one of the same. So when we can connect both through, like you said, the four elements, and really recognize like we are all just water, air, fire, and we come from the land. So I think if we look back in these ancestral teaching, not too far back, where how you tend to the earth is how you tend to yourself, because we are of the earth. There is no difference. And that's not something that I've ever heard in any of the schools that I've either been a student or that I've taught at. I've never heard a science class say, you are carbon, you are oxygen, you are stardust. So there's this separatism almost immediate. Like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, you are that star. You know?
Yeah, and I think that when we don't see the earth as a reflection of ourselves, and we're capable of doing these violent things to the earth, then we're also capable of doing that to one another too. So not understanding that connectedness is harmful on multiple levels. A lot of my work really touches on exactly what you were talking about, like these different forms of violence, and really thinking about what are those protective factors and risk factors that are upstream of that violence that is shared across many forms of violence that we can try to shift to create, you know, better environments in which we can thrive and care for one another. Right now, I'm currently working on, you know, a lot of work with suicide prevention. And then one of my other, you know, large grants that I work on is kind of looking again at those shared factors for child abuse and neglect, intimate partner violence, domestic violence, motor vehicle crashes, and traumatic brain injury. So it's really interesting when you break down and you kind of go upstream and you see, oh, okay, when people have, you know, access to good housing or you know, quality education or health care, it really is protective across the span of these different violence outcomes.
Human social world is not the source of your existence, even though it is the arena and it's super important. I'm not saying it's not, but it isn't the source of our existence. And so there's nobody in the human world that can tell you, that can give you the ultimate value of your existence. You have to get that by relating to the thing that gave us life. And if you can't make your own living from the earth to a certain extent, you can't really control your life. In terms of colonization, is that some people came to other people's lands and then through hook and crook tried to convince them or murder them out of their land, displace them, push them off the earth. They pushed them off the earth, and then they told them, because you're brown, because you're black, because you are this religion, you don't have a right to be on the earth. Or we can tell you how you can be on the earth. And so now we have all these people who have been displaced from their ancestral places on the earth, and we're all roaming around in these cities, and we're all caught up in the competitive game of capitalism. And the whole social comparison of, I got to get this and I got to look like that in order to impress this person. And it's like thicker now than it's ever been.
I'm the spirit of Cunha Black. Dark like the universe in deep space. The color of rooted soil. Dark like black oil. Truth dripping, trickling down like fabricated lies. Polluted like chemtrail sky. Cross T's and dotted third eyes. Seeing within the clear vision our future. I introduce a lot of young people to a lot of this indigenous kind of connection through a movement that I have called Tribal Zyphers. And Tribal Zyphers is connecting hip hop to indigenous culture and showing that it's not a new art form, it's something that's always been in existence. So utilizing the elements of hip hop to show the root culture of who we are as people. So through spoken word or MCing, through music production or drumming, through dance, through graffiti, all these different elements are elements that make us who we are as humans and make us even more human. Teaching and giving perspective to some of these people who are trapped in this gang violence on how to reconnect to who they are within the earth. And I think that would change a lot of the violence that we're currently dealing with. You got to give people direction, and you got to give them perspective of what they're dealing with in order for them to evolve. Within the vision, we the children of stardust, stardust, stardust. Within the vision, we the children of stardust.
I come from a neighborhood that doesn't technically exist anymore. You understand what I'm saying? And when we was there, we was always by, like you ain't never too far from the Purina factory over there. You ain't never too far from, over there off Smith Road. It's industrial now, but it was not something that people saw as beautiful. And so that make you not see yourself as beautiful. Then you internalize your ugliness, and then you see everybody who look like you. So, the hood is made. Nelson Mandela said, poverty is this unnatural condition of slavery. Montbello got redlined into, Montbello was made on a dump, you feel me? Then you feel like trash. Then you treat them boys as trash, you understand? Then you blame yourself for the trash. Like you feel like garbage, I'm throw away, you throw away. How dare you flex on me like you ain't throw away, I'm about to throw you away. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the hood teaches you that you're expendable, so expend them first. And it's all based on the garbage idea. The idea of garbage, that's something that's permanently useless, does not exist anywhere in nature. Nature recycles every motherfucking thing. I believe nature recycles the human spirit too. I know this ain't my first time here. You feel me? So it's like, because I done carry with me way more than my years should say, you feel me? And a lot of people like that. So the idea of garbage is linked to actually the idea of hell, which is linked to the idea of prison, a permanent throwaway space. And if you feel like you was embodying that, then you treat other people like that. And that's how the hood and the garbage is like hella connected. You feel?
Organize everything I do's revolutionize. I build what's good for the whole damn hood. Study G's like these, really think you should. I studied Malcolm Garvey, Huey.
Let me tell you a story of my youth. Back in the day when I had no couth, stuck in systems of violence and abuse. But I broke free, liberated myself, found the key. I began to understand my own essence and chi, reconnected with the land and my community. There was so much I started to realize as the truth began to rise. I found out it is these systems I despise, destroying the earth with their corporate lies, ICE ignoring the sounds of children's cries. Earth guardians, it is time to rise. See, I used to be gang banging, but now I'm knowledge slanging, shifting systems in these paradigms. Revolution is not a crime, but there's environmental activists doing time, and the government has straight crossed the line, and our generation is running out of time. See, I used to be filled with anger, always getting into fights, until I found the truth and my inner light. It is these corrupt systems creating conditions of oppression. So I discovered I must make a confession that I must redirect my energy rather than contribute to the violence in my society. Waking up, embracing sobriety, seeing how the school system has been lying to me. Getting expelled was a blessing in disguise. My revolutionary self came alive. I ignited the fires of my heart's passion, mobilizing and taking action, stepping into my strength and finding my voice. After what I had been through, there was no choice. We are here, our existence as a form of resistance, the youth to challenge and bring change, stop the horizontal violence, go up the chain, take down capitalism with our environmental activism, decolonize and re-indigenize, come together and organize. The war waged on indigenous people is war waged on the biosphere itself. Ya basta. Enough with the destruction. People's disconnection from nature creates this corruption. Estamos aquí para decir no más destrucción y no más corrupción. The wounds of the past must be collectively healed. Our people and Mother Earth are still being killed. Cultural genocide, leaving children traumatized. We must come together and decide. That sacred divine love must overcome all greed. We must work together. All beings must be freed. We are the darkness that yields light, the seed that bears fruit. Our resiliency prevails. We grow from the root. Reparations now. Our people yelling, give me the loot. The reallocation of wealth, investing in people's health. No more profits above humanity. This has been insanity. How can we have a sustainable future when we repeat the pain from the past? GDP, continual growth, and living fast. Like Zapatista Caracoles, we gotta slow it down. Take time to turn it around. Return to the original teachings, ancient indigenous wisdom, degrading modern day imperialism. Deep ecology to do away with materialism. Cultivating connection with spirit and Mother Earth. Standing in solidarity.
Alone we are strong, together we are powerful.
Thank you all so much for watching and experiencing that capstone film. We are going to transition into Q&A. So feel free to, raise your hand if you have a question or however you would like to engage. And just thank you all again for being here.
I would like to say something. This is Stephanie. I had to leave for a little bit for a radio interview, but I came back and I just need, every time I see you, Sedona, you bring me to tears. You're so amazing in the work that you're doing. We have no idea. You are like an amazing young woman that is bringing this to the forefront, that we need to continue this journey and this struggle, because people like me are handing the baton to younger people like you, and you are doing some amazing work. And I just need to tell you how much your work impacts me personally and professional. And I need to say thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. You have been such an inspiration and support, and everything you do is what is inspiring, generations like mine to do what we do. And I just appreciate you so much. So Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for presenting today the Rocky Mountain Public Health Training Center. It is so amazing to be able to have these types of presentations.
Sedona, my heart is beating like that drum. Every time I would see you in the office, you brought such great energy, and even today you bring such great energy to my life, to the work that I have been doing in racial equity in state government and public health. And I just want to say thank you, because this is the work that we should all be focusing on. In discrimination, in dismantling discrimination, dismantling racism, dismantling white supremacy. Thank you so much, Sedona, for your great work that you have been doing over the years that I've known you, and for the person who you are. You bring such great joy every time I see you. You bring me peace, and you bring me the courage and the confidence to continue my work within state government, where our voices are never heard. And when they are heard, they're heard minimal, to an extent to where we're heard. So thank you again. Love.
Thank you so much, Crystal. Everyone is bringing me to tears right now. And I just want to say that your work inspires me so much. And we need everyone here to be, tapping into that inner courage and that strength. And Crystal, you so beautifully embody that every day in your work and in your life. So thank you so much. And it's all reciprocated.
I just want to encourage folks to maybe come onto camera so we can see the last few moments of this event, because this is what futurism in action is. We have a couple years to decide what the next hundreds of years is going to look like. All of us, we all are playing an active role. And when the industrial complex became a thing, boy, did that change the life that we're all living for hundreds of years. And that was a moment. So what are you going to do in your moment? And I think all of us have really been touched and inspired by the way Sedona lives each moment of her life, surrounding herself with amazing people like I'm seeing coming on right now. Like, she can't do it alone. Her generation shouldn't have to, right? And so, I know I don't look like the older generation, but I promise you I am. I'm closer to 40 than I am to anything else. It's really up for us to cheer this next generation on, because they're gonna have to do it. It wasn't the boomers. Thank you all for your service. We thought you were gonna be the ones, but you weren't. And so it's really for each and every one of us to keep stepping up, to take some of one or two or 10 things that you've heard today from any one of the presenters, or a quote from Sedona herself. It's up for us to live in that truth of the future. So I thank you all for dreaming, and dream big with us. Dream really, really big, not only for yourself, for your unseen ancestors, but for the little ones to come. They're here, they're coming through. As a birth worker, I'm telling you, there's been a shift in the last 10 years of the babies that were coming, that were still kind of sleepy and in Stardust land, and the ones that are coming through like, I've got a mission, I've got a job to do. So if you
If you see something like that in your life, nurture it.
The reality is that it takes us all. We're all in this together. And I will tell you, I am part of the boomers, and we busted our asses trying to make this happen. And it wasn't because of lack of trying with the structural and institutional racism, but I think we're at a point where we can really move the needle now. So all of us need to be in this together.
Yes, Stephanie, I'm right with you. Thank you, Thea.
Thank you so much for everyone's just beautiful words and presence. Even though we aren't together in person, I truly feel the hearts and the souls of each of you, in this webinar, in this Zoom room, and as today we are honoring the earth, this is such a special day, and Tweevy told me, it was truly meant to be that our webinar, happened to fall on Earth Day. So it's just so special. And I just want to echo, what Melissa said, that I could not do this alone. Every single one of you that I've interacted with, who has inspired me, who has encouraged me and supported me along my journey, has contributed to who I am today. And I just want to reflect the gratitude and everything that I'm hearing to each of you, and to, encourage you to, remember just something, whether it's a seed of knowledge or of inspiration, or something that you want to take back into your work and into your lives, to help with your own resiliency and growth, and our work together in changing our world and creating a better future for the next generations and for our current generations. So thank you all so much. And Tweevy and I, will be sharing out all of these resources, and are happy to connect as well.
Sedona, massive shout out and infinite snaps to you, Melissa and Tweevy as well. Thank you so much for your inspirational work, for grounding us, for reminding us of this context, that everything that we're doing is bigger than us. Also, shout out and a big thank you to people like Stephanie, talking about passing the baton. Thank you for allowing us to elevate our struggle and work from a higher level than we would have been. And thank you to Sedona and all of you coming up behind us in this work. Let's keep it moving. Thank you so much. This was so powerful and inspirational. You never cease to amaze me.
Thank you, Jason, for the amazing work that you do too.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without all of you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Jason and everyone. Just huge love and appreciation for the Health Equity Coalition out of CPHA for creating these amazing webinars to bring us together in this way, for advocating for language justice. And again, a shout out to Luis for bringing translation services. And just thank you, all of you. I put in the chat that you have all paved the way for me to walk this path, and I truly mean it, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you. And if anyone has any other questions or comments, feel free to speak them aloud or drop them in the chat. And Tweevy and I will also be sending out a feedback survey as well, where you can offer any other comments or questions if you'd like.
Yes, thank you everyone so much for coming out today. In the chat is our Google Forms. Please feel free to complete that so we can just get feedback for ways that we can also improve and to be more inclusive, bring in more equity into the space, uplift voices that we haven't heard or seen. And so, yes. And with that, we are done. Our next webinar session is June 24th from 12 to 1 p.m. So just save the date. We are hoping it'll be another another amazing session for y'all to engage in conversation and to be with community. So thank you, everyone.
Happy Earth Day, Ometeo.
Happy Earth Day. Thank you.